problem is that we're not
Blacks
telling
here in
the
this
kids
city have
starting
made
to
a
use
significant
drugs earlier
contribution.
in life than they ever have. Welcome to Minority Focus. I'm your host, Jimmie Moore. I want to make mention that you can now watch some of the shows, not all of them, but some of the shows, by going online at Paducah2.org. And if you have any ideas of shows, subjects for shows that you'd like to get into or have me address, contact me at the website that will show at the end of this show. Got my man, Brother Walton, with me today.
Yes, sir.
Again,
Yes, sir.
again. This is
All
a follow-up of sorts. Know you're still working with working with as many people as you can.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Particularly in areas of disparity in treatment, misrepresentation, all those negative things that go on in the court system.
Right.
And now you've got a thing going where you're trying to help
Ex-offenders.
ex-offenders.
Yes, sir. And we started this, as a matter of fact, it began the first Monday of this month. We're going to be having it every first Monday of every month at the W.C. Young Community Center. And it's called Ex-Offender Support. That's basically what it's called. And we are trying to have an organization set so that those that are coming out of prison will have a support group. Coming out of prisons or jails, and the support group is made up of people that have already been to prison or jail, and they have gotten out and they are making some success with their lives so that they can help to some kind of way encourage other people that are getting out to the fact that they can make it.
Because I would imagine that sometimes when you get out of prison, to a degree, you develop the prison mentality.
Yes.
And then when you get out, it's like you're walking into a raw world, and you don't, and to have somebody there
Right.
that speaks your language or knows where you're going, knows where you've been, and knows where you're going.
And have an understanding. It is so true what you just said, because a lot of times people get out and they feel like that they are alone. And some of the people that have gotten out just are either going on their way, and they don't really look back to help anybody else sometimes. And sometimes people are ashamed of where they've been, and they don't want to tell anybody. So when a person getting out of jail or prison, he feels like he's alone. And sometimes the system makes it so difficult for you to make it, for you to get housing, for you to get a job, for you to get any type of assistance. If you are a convicted felon, or depending on the type of crime that you have, you sometimes get out with nothing, and you don't have any avenues of getting anything.
How does word get to them that this is available for them here when they get out?
Well, we have tried to do our best as far as advertising. This show is going to help out tremendously, and I appreciate the opportunity to do that. We have sent letters to as many churches as we possibly can here in the city. We have given flyers out to hang up in different places, and hopefully word of mouth. And we're just hoping that it can get out to people so that when they do get out of jail, they'll know that they at least have a group.
Right. I know that it's fairly young. I know that. What's the response been to it? Not exact numbers, but are people taking advantage of it?
Our first meeting was very nice. I think we had about 15 to 20 people there in our very first meeting, and I thought that was good for the first meeting. And in talking to other people, some people didn't even know it. So hopefully at the next meeting, which is the first Monday in July, it'll be even more.
Right.
And I'm excited about it because I think the people that were there were excited, and it was amazing because we only were going to meet for an hour, and we got so excited that we went a little over, and we actually could have stayed too, because once you get people talking and people coming up with ideas, because what we want to do, we really want to fix it so that we can have an organization there that can help people find good jobs, because there are smart people. They just make mistakes. They go to prison, they go to jail, and they get out, and they have skills, but that they can't use them, right. Or they feel like that people are going to slam doors in their faces, and a lot of people are. So we want to have this thing so that if they come out, we can have jobs that we know will hire them, regardless of whether they've been charged with or whatever. Places that we know will allow them to stay in. Things that we have set up so that it can help jumpstart their life so that they won't feel like that they're by themselves.
Although I know you're totally capable of doing a whole bunch of things by yourself, What's your support element like? Are you getting a lot of support from
Well,
other people?
because I just sent the letters off probably a couple of weeks ago, I don't really know right now if where the support is concerned from other people. People say it's a good thing, and we've dealt with this before. People have to have a heart for what they do. The criminal justice system is such a dark world. It's such a unforgotten territory for many people. And it's not something that a lot of people are that interested in. And basically because of the media and because of how society feels about criminals. The media basically gives them only the bad people and the real hardened criminals. It really doesn't talk about the ones that have made it, and those that are doing well, and those that are trying to help. So society really, when you deal with ex-inmates or ex-offenders, or the prison system in general, society is really, okay, you go do that, and if we can help you, let us know. But it's not something that people just quickly jump on board to help with, which I understand that.
Right. I know, I've often read and heard, seen on TV, that most people, or a lot of people, when they get imprisoned, incarcerated, that they tend to spend a lot of time reading the law or learning things about the law that they never had before, because it starts with their being interested in their own cases, but sometimes it delves out into just the law, period. Was that your case when you were incarcerated?
No, I didn't care anything about the law exactly. There were people in there that they called jailhouse lawyers. These guys were good. I didn't really have any interest in criminal law at all. I wanted to get as far away from it as I possibly could. Just wanted to get out. That was my desire. I just wanted to get out. But there are other people that do get into that.
I asked because I thought that maybe that would be something that you could impart to these people that you're helping. But eventually, is there a hope that someone with some kind of legal expertise will be a part of what you're doing to advise them?
Exactly, and that's one of the things also that I wanted to help the ex-offenders support group to do, is to have some people that are in there that are familiar with the legal aspects of this city, so that we can help to advise people. Maybe a parent of someone in jail might come by and want to talk to us about their child and what the best avenues they need to take. We want to have some people in that organization that can do that, and even some attorneys. We would love to have some attorneys that would be involved in that can help us direct us in the areas that we need to go to help people.
Yeah, for sure. I was just thinking that most of the time, I think, it seems here in Paducah that the crime element, I don't want to say the crime element, people who commit crimes, who get imprisoned are youthful. Youthful offenders. Is this the majority of people that you're dealing with? Are they youthful people, or does the age range?
The majority of them are youthful. There are some older, and I guess it depends on what you mean by what age group is older and what age group is youthful. Because I was just talking to a young man yesterday, 18 years old, been in and out of juvenile all of his life, most of his life, and now he's stepping into adulthood, and he's facing time in the adult prisons. So a lot of them are youthful, but we have to also recognize the fact that parents were young parents having children, and not giving them the proper guidance that they need. And the kind of world that we're living in now is producing criminals at an early age. So we have a great number of those that are in prison, incarcerated, are young, and if anywhere from 18 to 25 or 26 or something like that. And it is very frightening to see where our world is going when it comes to the criminal justice system.
I would imagine. I would think that the lesser time a person spends in prison, the more easy it is to deal with them when they get out. Is that online? The longer a guy's there, the harder he gets, and tougher he is to deal with?
Sometimes. It really depends on circumstance, because sometimes a person can get what they call institutionalized. If you're in prison over 15 years, you are almost institutionalized. But I've also seen those kind of people get out and live successful lives. So it really depends on the person. You really can't say as far as the longer they stay in, the harder it's going to be. You really can't say that because it depends on the person. And there are some people that they get in, they get education, they get very, very smart. They have a lot of things going for them. They have outside links, and by the time they get out, they are able to step into certain careers. And there are some that is just the opposite. They spend a lot of time. Matter of fact, I knew a guy when I had just gone in prison. He was coming back in prison after doing 20 calendar years in prison, and he stayed out about 3 months. And my question to him is, how did you do that? How did you come back in such a short time? And what he told me was interesting. Your mind has a way of adjusting. Sometimes after you get out, your mind adjusts back to almost like the time wasn't that long. And so the mind has a way of adapting, and you don't seem like you've been in there that long. And you go back to picking up your old habits, and before you know it, you're in there.
Back in there. We didn't get some information, some vital information from you that I hope we can infiltrate into the show a little later. I'll get it from you, and that's how people can contact you.
Okay.
Who want to help, who want to be a part of this somehow. But I'll get that from you, and,
Okay.
and if I can't get it into the show, at the end of this show, you'll be back.
I'll be back.
Because we want to hear how this is going for you and stuff. And I hope that people will support it.
I'm
I'm sure
so.
they will.
I'm hoping so. Again, I know you make statements to me a lot about are you getting support? Are you? I never really think about that as much as how many people I can help. I never really think about who's going to jump on board, who's going to help. Whether other pastors are going to help or whether legal people are going to help. I don't really think about that because if I do, I probably would get discouraged. But I see doors opening, I jump in them, and I do the very best that I can with the health and the strength that I have. And because we have a number of ex-offenders that want to help.
Right.
And that to me makes me feel really good.
Right. Please keep this in mind. And if you can be of service, like I said, I'm going to let you know how to contact Reverend Walton in the future. We mentioned one other something that we wanted to briefly touch on.
Okay.
I'm going to let you do just that.
Okay. It's the Penny Shimwell situation. I met her, spoke with her, been basically keeping up with her situation, and the interesting thing about that is that the way the system is treating her, the way it seems to be how they are basically manipulating her in order to get time out of her because of what they feel like she's done, and everybody that's familiar with it know that they basically are suspecting her of murdering Dr. Shimwell. But of course they don't have any proof, they can't prove it, but that's what they think. So therefore they are taking a small crime and basically blowing it up to make it big so that they can punish her for the murder, basically what they're doing. So it's really judicial manipulation. The system is basically taking advantage of her, and they are basically not treating her fairly. Now, I've been asked by several people, because I've said certain things to people and say, why are you interested? What makes you concerned about that? She's a white woman, why do you care? And that kind of baffled me because my concern is for all people, and of course we know that there's a lot of racism, a lot of things in the criminal justice system, but my concern in this situation is that if they can do this to her with such poise and with such ease, we really basically don't have a chance in the court system. Somebody that don't have the money or somebody that don't have the proper legal representation. And if this is happening to her, and I basically believe that everybody can see this. I think everybody has their own opinion. Yeah, she probably is guilty or blah, blah, blah. But nobody is concerned about the fact that is the justice system being just that, justice. Are they giving her justice? Are they doing the right thing in order to get what they need to get from her? And if they're not doing it, why are we okay with that? Why are we allowing our own opinion to basically enter into this thing and sit quietly back and say basically she's getting what she deserves? And we are saying that and we're seeing that, and nobody's doing anything about it. And plus, we won't say anything or even budge until something like that happens to us. When something like that comes to our door, then we want everybody to jump on board and we want everybody to see what's happening to us. But yet sometimes we fall into the same mode as the media, because the media paints a picture and we prove, the public determines whether a person is guilty or not guilty. And the media gives you that, so we just sit back and we just let things happen. And what I'm looking at is something that is not right. And if it's not right, then how can we just let it happen? And what happens when it comes to your son or my son, or it comes to you, or if it comes to me? And the word on the street, basically, if they want you, they'll find a way to get you.
One quick question. Did your interest or your seeing this unfairness, was it something, as long as this case has been around, and it's been around for a little bit now,
Right.
Did your interest just develop? Did something happen in particular that made you focus in and see a wrong, or were you about it from the very beginning? I mean,
from the very beginning, I didn't know that much about it. I kept hearing a little bit about it, but I had a group of sisters that went to the prison. And when they went to the prison, they met a lot of sisters there. They went there to minister, and they met a lot of sisters, and she was one of them. And we prayed for her, and they had asked me if I would just look into it with her. And when I looked in and saw it, I kept then from that point on, I kept up with it, and I just felt like it's just something just wasn't right. It's like, wait a minute, how this on this hand, and then you got this. And it was pretty obvious to me once I actually paid attention to it. At first, I guess I was like everybody else. This is another case, no big deal. And because my hands are usually pretty full with things, and this is a high-profile thing, and I'm not really caring. I guess that they would have a probably high-profile attorney, so they would take care of everything. So I wasn't really concerned about it. But then when I started reading, and I started talking to her, and I started dealing with I guess when I spoke to her attorney and things of that nature, it's like, this is not right. This is not right what they're doing. It wouldn't bother me at all if they had a dead to right. If everything they had an owner was right and was true, and they were being fair and just, I wouldn't even be involved. I would just be praying for her and going about my business. But then when I see things that are unfair, and it's not only her that I've seen this, I've witnessed other cases in this city that were completely unfair, and I've tried to do something about it. This just happened to be high profile. And because it's so high profile, this person stands a chance of losing their freedom for about 30 years.
exactly.
Over something that is small that they normally would have given somebody 5 years on. Exactly. You understand what I'm saying? So if this can happen again to her, what do we do about the things that have already happened to other people? Right. It's media. It's just like Rodney King was beat on national television. Right. Okay, how many black men were beaten when there was no camera?
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? This is high profile, and it's the media's been keeping up with it. We can see this. So what about the ones that we don't see, that are not high profile, the ones that are behind the scene? What about those?
For sure. So in addition to the time that you spend at the jail, at the courthouse, a lot of information, a lot of things that you learn about that you didn't know, you actually find out when you visit the prisons. Right. And speak directly with the people. By the way, if you have a difference of opinion, you are very welcome to come on the show and say so. It's wide open for you, just so everything stays on an even keel.
That's good.
You know, because I'm sure that from what little I know about it, I'll say, I know from talking to people and being here, opinions. You're the first person I've ever met that has a defense for her, not a defense for her, right, but who understands perhaps something that others don't.
Right, and that's because
I didn't know any of this. I didn't know any of this that you're telling me now.
Because this is the media. This is what the media does, and most of us we get our opinion from other people, and that's basically what we have, an opinion. We don't really know anything. And we get our opinion from what the media tells us, and they blow things out of proportion. They tell you what they want you to hear. And we base our opinion off of that, and we prejudge people based off what the media gives us.
Right. I have a coworker that reads several newspapers. Doesn't particularly care about the Paducah Sun. Why, I don't know. But he reads Louisville, St. Louis, and all of those. And each one he assesses whether that paper is influenced by its owners or not. Whether what's written and how it's said and what have you. He's pointed it out. That some of that material is directed almost. It's not simply the news.
Right.
It's a, I don't want to say doctored news, but
It could be possible that those that are in charge that owns the paper have more influence on what gets out than what stays in. So that's pretty obvious, and it's probably so. I'm not sure, but it's probably so. We only get what people want us to have.
Right.
That's the reason the society really don't really care about the criminal justice system, or if they do care, they don't know, or if they don't, if they know, then it's pushed to the side. They really, the society or the people in communities put a lot of confidence in the criminal justice system until it hits them
right.
in the door.
Right. And it all depends on who you are and
Right.
that sort of thing. I mean, I think of a circumstance where people are charged with a crime, say in traffic situations, speeding or this or that or whatever, and in a lot of cases they're not guilty of those things.
Right.
And it's proven in courts. But the minute that you're charged with that, your name goes in the paper.
Yes.
I think that is so terribly unfair.
It is unfair because the paper labels you. I mean, and people label you because of that. And another thing, these are things that I feel like need to be challenged by the people. The people only get away with what the community allows them.
Exactly.
If the community is silent, then things continue to go.
Exactly.
And things like that, I feel like, and this is one of the things I'm hoping this organization that I'm trying to develop will be able to address. We will be able to be a united front to stand against some of these things that could possibly be wrong.
Right. I remember reading a case where police went to this man's home and found these pictures, nude little kids, and it was written that he had been arrested for pedophilia or being a pedophile or what have you. They were pictures of his kids taking a bath when they were small, his children.
See?
And people do that all the time.
Yes.
They take pictures of their kids, but he got so deep into that,
And the thing about it, once you get labeled like that, it's hard to get that label off of you.
Right.
It's hard to get it off of you. And people look at you completely different, whether you're guilty or innocent. People have their own ideas of whether you're guilty or innocent.
Right.
And they treat you accordingly.
For sure. It's like, never mind true, you're innocent until proven guilty,
Supposedly.
You're innocent until proven guilty, but we think this guy raped somebody. But boom, you're dead.
You're dead.
You're dead in the water. I mean, your life's over.
Because really, to be honest with you, it's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. But in all actuality, you have to prove your innocence. You have to prove your innocence because once you step in the courtroom if you have any type of media behind you at all,
Right.
then you have already been found guilty before you walk in the door.
Exactly.
And that is terrible because you have no defense for that.
Right. And you see a lot of that here.
You see a lot of it. You see a lot of it. And what 12 juries are going to be able to give you a real, reasonable verdict if you're already guilty before you walk in?
Right. If society's already
They've already got you hung already before you walk in the courtroom, and that's a lot of times what it is. From the district attorney's office even to the judges, and even sometimes your own attorney. Especially when you're dealing with public defenders, you really overworked, underpaid, and sign right here whether you're guilty or innocent. And it's really a forgotten world, the criminal justice system is, and I think more people need to pay more attention to it.
Right.
Big money. It's one of the biggest money-making organizations in the world is the criminal justice system.
Wow. Well, you're gonna sprout a few more gray hairs before
Well,
long.
This has been I've been dealing with this for a little bit over 20 years now. So that's if you look at it, you go and sit inside the courtroom one day, you'll be surprised how much money have to come through there. Court costs, fines, you will be amazed.
Right.
It will blow your mind. Somebody is getting rich off of the crimes that we commit. That's why my plea to people is when you get out of the system, stay out of the system.
Right. Right. You gotta
Stay out of
got a
this.
lot going on there, Doc. You could.
I just want to help. That's all. And
That's
regardless of whether I get people on board or not, that doesn't really matter. I would love to,
Right.
but if not, I'm going to do whatever I can do anyway.
Right. You appreciate it. You really are.
Thank you.
You really
God bless
appreciate
you.
it.
God bless
And
you. I appreciate it.
and they gonna change this to minority focus with.
No, I don't have time for that. I like to come and talk to you. That's what I come to talk. I come to talk to you.
I'm really glad, glad that you do. You and others who do the same things that you do, make those visits and keep an eye on things. Somebody's got to keep an eye on things. If ain't nobody watching,
What are we
it'll
going to
go
do?
absolutely crazy.
Yes, sir.
Hope you will remember, what people are doing and how they're trying to help. And this is all for Paducah.
Yes, sir.
This is for our city,
Our
and
city.
for all of us who live
sir.
here.
All of
Everybody benefit from some of the things that you're doing.
I hope so.
And we appreciate it. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me. Again.
I used to a time or two I'd close the show by saying you can't reach down and lift anybody up with a clenched fist.
That's true.
You got to open that hand and reach out. For Minority Focus, I'm Jimmie Moore.